everybody. We are meeting today to discuss the folder audits that special education has been doing over the last few weeks. And some of our compliance issues that we had, PLAAFP statements were one of those. Remember that the PLAAFP statement guides what you do in the ARD committee. The PLAAFP statement guides what is in a goal and objective, and then also guides what our schedule of services looks like. So we are going to be discussing today what a PLAAFP statement is, what TEA wants us to have in our PLAAFP statement to make sure that it meets all the pieces to be in compliance, and then what we need to ensure that we do in our committee in order to make this all happen for a student. So you guys have a document in DocuShare, and it is called the Present Levels of Performance and Goals and Objectives page. It might be kind of hard to see on this video, but you can pull that up on DocuShare if you want, as well as we're going to be sending you a link to that document. Remember that a teacher should always come to the ARD committee with updated goals and objectives from their previous ARD. That is so that we can show that the student's making progress on their current goals and objectives, and that helps us create our next PLAAFP that we have in an ARD. Okay? So you should also come to the ARD with those proposed goals and objectives and that proposed PLAAFP statement. Never go to an ARD and not have any of that filled out in eSped. We always want to make sure that we have everything that's proposed in there, and of course at the ARD committee we can make some changes. In this document you'll see some things, so we're going to go over that. Progress on the updated goals and objectives are going to be the first thing that we do. We're going to review that, okay? And then we're going to look at some of the background information of the student, the updated goals and objectives, and then we're going to develop our new PLAAFP for the ARD. Remember that in our PLAAFP statements, we have to have a PLAAFP statement for every area that the student has a need in. So if that student has a weakness or a need in that area, then we must have a PLAAFP statement. If their disability does not affect that area, then you're going to leave that area blank in eSped, or you're going to go ahead and say that the disability does not affect that area. Okay? So let's look at some examples. Up here on the screen, you can see that we have a template for the PLAAFP. This template is required by the ARD committee. This is what we are going to be using in Mesquite ISD. We have updated this form, and so you guys can go to DocuShare and see that. It's already been updated there. But this is going to be the form that we use, this format, and so you are going to be required to have all of these vital pieces as part of your PLAAFP in the ARD. First of all, it lists out what the student's name is and what the student's grade. Then you're going to say how the student is currently eligible as a student with special education. Then you're going to have the area of need. And then you're going to have what that weakness is. And then based on data and different sources that you have, you're going to have a strength. You know, what can the student do currently according to that need? And then you're going to have those conditions or supports or accommodations that are needed in order to make the student successful in that area. And then you're going to determine how it will hinder their progress in the gen ed curriculum. Okay? So if you guys look at the PLAAFP statement, there's an example here. So I'm going to read that out. Chris is an 11th grade student. Currently the student is eligible as a student with a learning disability. Their area of need include working, developing his skills in the area of written expression, specifically with an instructional focus in starting his rough drafts. Based on teacher data, Chris is currently taking up to 15 minutes to start his rough drafts during independent writing time on a self-selected topic. This will hinder Chris's access to the gen ed curriculum because he will not be able to meet the enrolled grade level expectations of an 11th grader. He will have difficulty completing written assignments on time to his science, history, elective, language arts classes. So you can see that it lists out the student's name, what grade the student is in, what his eligibility area is, which is a learning disability. It lists out that he is having difficulty in the area of written expression. He's also having difficulty in an instructional focus area of starting his rough drafts. So you can see that they based it on some teacher data that they had, that it took him up to 15 minutes to get started on his rough drafts during independent time. or self-selected topic time. And that will hinder him if it takes 15 minutes for him to start the writing assignment. So we're going to create a goal and objective off of this PLAAFP statement. So remember, for every weakness that you have, then that should also align with a goal or an objective that you have in that area. So remember, for every student who's in a support facilitation or a co-teach class, we only require that you have a goal in that area. We don't require in this district that you have any objectives for those particular students who are in gen ed classes for that area. But if a student's in a modified TEKS instruction class or a life skills class, a PPCD class, or a TLC class, we do require that you have at least one goal and 2 objectives for every area of weakness. So let's think about that. So if this student is a student that is in a co-teach class in 11th grade and he's having difficulty, we'd have one goal that relates to his writing. Okay? So then he's also going to have an area on the schedule of services like co-teach English 3 class. So that's how they're going to align. We have a PLAAFP statement for written expression, then we have a goal for written expression, and then we have a service in that area on the schedule. So we want to always make sure that those 3 align for every area that is of concern. So I want to go ahead and look into eSped and go ahead and take you to that PLAAFP area. So let me turn it over here, see if you can see it. As you can see, there is this first box that talks about the development of the IEP. The ARC committee must review those previous IEP goals and objectives. That should then drive what you have in your PLAAFP statement. So you can see on this area where it says present levels of academic achievement and functional performance, we have the areas of reading, speech and related services, written expression, functional, math, behavior, and other. Remember, you don't have to have something written in every single box. For this student, Chris, who's in 11th grade, he doesn't require any of these other areas. He just has a difficulty in written expression. So if you look at the PLAAFP statement, I went ahead and that's the area that we put that PLAAFP statement in, was in written expression. Okay? So remember that if you have a student who's in life skills or PPCD or TLC class or in a BAC class, you may have some other areas that aren't listed on the PLAAFP statement. So you know that we have IEP goals and objectives for behavior. You might have IEP goals and objectives for socialization or communication, science or social studies. Those all also need to be in here, but they may be listed under the other box, as well as possibly under some functional skills like daily living or self-care. Now, once you guys actually complete this video, we're also going to talk about some of the other compliance things that we're going to have to do. So you're watching the video right now, that you're going to just verify that you watched and you understood everything. The special ed coordinators, we're going to be doing some random folder audits, which basically every week we're going to be looking at some different folders on campus, and we're going to be pulling those randomly and looking at the PLAAFP statement. We're going to determine, does the PLAAFP statement align with those goals and objectives, and then does that PLAAFP statement with those goals and objectives align to the schedule of services. So once you've watched this video and you've held some ARDs, we're going to look at those and determine if you utilize this training in order to make some changes that we needed to make us compliant. If we pull one of your folders and we notice that it does not meet compliance, then we're going to bring you over here and we're going to be doing some face-to-face training with you. Actually going through some kiddos and retraining you guys. And so if it doesn't meet all the vital parts, you're going to be required to submit your next 3 ARDs, those proposed goals and objectives, those proposed PLAAFPs, and proposed schedule of services for your next ARDs a week in advance to your special ed coordinator so we can actually make sure everything aligns. And once you have done 3 ARDs and we feel like you understand everything, then we're going to go ahead and put you back in that random folder audit, and we won't be requiring you to send those. Of course, we don't ever want to get to this part with anybody. So you can always call your coordinator at any time to answer any question that you might have about the PLAAFP for goals and objectives and how that aligns to the schedule. But once you have submitted everything, our goal is for you guys, for us to be compliant across the district. We don't want to have to go back to ARD to fix anything. We don't want to have to call their parents back up and say, hey, we made a mistake. Our goal is to make you guys better and to not put you through these trainings if you don't need them. So if you guys have any questions, just let the coordinators know, and I appreciate you watching today. Thank you so much.